Hi, Ange. You're big on your football history. This feels like a big, big moment for the football club, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt. 30 years, a club that's absolutely climbed to the peak of European football in the past, and you can just imagine how the supporters are feeling. There's probably a couple of generations in there who've heard the stories but not lived the experiences, and now they can live their own experiences, and it's special. I know everyone at the club's super excited, the players are excited, and hopefully it's a successful campaign for us.
4 years ago, the club was bottom of the league in the Championship, so that just shows you the progress that the owners made.
Yeah, amazing, and that's it's brilliant. It's what kind of football was always designed to be. That if you dream and you do things well, and that you can reach the absolute pinnacle of whatever endeavour you're in, and especially for football clubs, I think that's always been the aspirational side of the game. That maybe's dwindling a little bit, but certainly those kind of stories are the ones that resonate the most, I think, when you look at football's history.
And it's clearly a competition you know very well, Celtic and Tottenham, and obviously you're at a different club now, but you are defending your title almost, aren't you?
Yeah. No, look, I'm excited by it. I mean, obviously when sort of made the decision to accept the position, it was one of the sort of most enticing bits that the club is in. It is in Europe, and obviously in the Europa League, which is a competition, as you said, I've already had experience in. But just being in Europe is exciting. It's I've always enjoyed it. It challenges you in different ways, challenges the players in different ways, and just as the fans have memorable experiences, it's the same as a player and as a coach. Winning away in Europe is tough, but if you can manage that, it always remains in the memory as something special. So, hugely looking forward to this campaign.
Afternoon, Ange. Have you told the players that you think you guys are favourites? Have you told them that you want to win this competition?
No, I haven't told them that. No, I mean, I think from my perspective, what's really important is that a bit like I have in the past, is that you treat this as a sort of standalone tournament. It's very different from the Premier League. It's very different from your league competition. Like I said, just challenges you in different ways, and you need to embrace that challenge. And when it comes around, really switch your focus to what's required for that, because the demands of it, even the conditions you may face, are going to be totally different. So if you just sort of expect to roll in from a Premier League game into a European game, I just don't think that's the way it works. So obviously I've had experience in it, and we'll make sure that the lads are ready for every unique challenge that's before us.
Please, could you just explain a bit more on how it's different? Do you expect teams to treat you differently then?
No, it's just like you're playing different countries, different leagues, different styles of football, different types of players. It's very, very different. Each league has its own sort of uniqueness to it, both in the way teams play and the conditions you face. I'm pretty sure you won't be many Premier League grounds where it's going to be 28, 30 degrees at 9 p.m. So there's one difference straight away. And that affects the football, of course. But I just think it's the different styles and the different kind of challenges you face. That in the Premier League, there aren't too many sort of secrets. Everything's pretty much known. You know what you're going to get every week. And this European football is a lot different.
Any more? Tom.
Hi, Ange. A question about your players, really. A lot of new players this summer. Last year at Tottenham, you had a big squad with a lot of injuries, which meant the squad was then tight. Now you've got a big squad and everybody's fit. As a manager, how do you, your own style of keeping those players who aren't involved regularly and think they're fringe players, how do you, as a manager, act against them and keep them on side and motivated?
I don't think that's, I don't think that's too hard. you know, as I said, my experience last year in particular, Tottenham showed you need a big squad, you know, and I think at least one player, I think Jed Spence wasn't in the initial squad. He didn't play in the qualifying rounds, ended up playing in the final. You know, he worked his way into the squad by the time we get to knockout stages. So there's obviously, you know, a couple of lads who are disappointed not making the Europa squad, but you know, that doesn't mean that they're sort of not going to be part of Europe this year. You can make 3 changes when you get to the knockout stages. So the opportunity is still there, and the reality is you need a big squad. There's no other way to do it, because you will. Every team, already seen teams are beginning to pick up injuries, and you know, you're going to need a squad to be able to challenge on all fronts, and I'm really happy with the squad we've got at the moment.
And last year you beat a German team in the quarterfinals, I think a Norwegian team in the semi-finals, and then obviously Manchester United. So different styles of football, and you've been around the game a long time now. In terms of playing in the Europa League or in Europe in general, are you more pragmatic now when you are playing it like the final last year when you banked up and you got the lead? Would that be the way you would envisage going forward this season, encountering Betis and other styles of football?
Yeah, no, look, I think it's fair to say that the world is crying out for me to be pragmatic, but I'm just not built.
But you're loath to be.
but I'm just not built that way. And look, you know, I've always said what I like to do and what I enjoy more than anything is winning. So whatever it takes, we'll do. As you said, we had a different campaign last year, and certainly in the final, we had to play a certain way because of the availability of the players we had, and thought we handled that really well. But again, you know, people's memory gets blurred. If you look at the knockout stages, the quarterfinal, semi-final at home, we were very, very dominant, played our football away from home. We did what we need to get done. And I think you do have to approach, like I said, the Europa League a little bit differently. Tactically, there's some tweaks you need to make to allow the players to perform at their best. But I still want to win every game. That's never going to change.
So tomorrow night, obviously, 31 degrees tomorrow night. You would imagine them subs, you're going to need them at some point, maybe early in the game or later, but they're all going to be involved tomorrow.
Absolutely, yeah. And players are ready for that. And like I said, that's why we need a big squad. And you know, the important thing is the guys who come and make an impact, which they did against Burnley on Saturday. We're really pleased with the guys who came on and made an impact. And certainly whatever team we start with, you know, we certainly have the ability to make changes that can impact the game.
I wish you well, thanks.
Thank you.
Ben.
Hi, Ange. Just in terms of obviously the history, 30 years, have you tapped into any of that or delved into any of that, maybe out of your own curiosity this week?
Oh, look, you know, I'm well aware of it, and you know, it's not lost on me that you know, the sort of responsibility I have in sort of representing that. But I think it's always important to reflect on, you know, how you got to where you have, even recent history, as was mentioned, you know, the recent history of the club, but also going deeper and understanding that, you know, I said it when I was a Celtic too, when a club's got a couple of stars on its badges, it's special, yeah, because you'd only earn them one way, and that is by winning a European Cup or a Champions League. And, you know, that you can't sort of, literally you can't buy that, you know, you have to earn that, and only very few have earned that right, and we carry it on our shirts. And I think when you carry like that, something on your shirt, then you can tap into it, because it shows you that, you know, there's the possibility always of success if you know, dream of it and work hard for it. And you know, when you go out there, you're representing not just, you know, today's fans and you know, today's sort of players, but also those in the past that have got you to where you are today.
Ange, you said the aspirational side of the game in terms of a club maybe rising from the bottom of the second tier to trying to win a European competition was dwindling a bit. Do you mean it necessarily it does because of the financial outlook of the game now, or just that clubs have different priorities in terms of finishing higher in the league rather than going for trophies?
A bit of both, I think. Yeah, I think it's fair to say a bit of both. Obviously, the financial implications these days of competing at the highest level are vast, and you need investment for sure to do that. But yeah, I also feel that some of it is more about, you know, ensuring that every year you're in Europe because of what it does to your bottom line rather than actually winning something. So I'm still very much on the ledger of, win things and create history than, the other side. But, I guess that's the world we live in.
And just finally from me, you've had experience of continental competitions all over the world. How much improvement do you notice that's allowed the players that you've had to make, and how much potential for growth is there in these Forest players coming into this competition?
Yeah, hugely. I'm a big fan of sort of continental competition, representative football, international football. I know, again, the congested calendar and, as clubs we often pay a price. We've obviously lost Ola from international duty, but I just think the benefits of players playing in those kind of competitions and playing in Europe and testing themselves in different kind of environments and against different types of players, I think it allows them to grow in ways where, if they were just playing a domestic competition, it wouldn't. And if you look at our group, I've got a lot of sort of players who, the majority of them, I think their best football is ahead of them. So this tournament or being in Europe has probably come at the right time for them. They can really accelerate their growth very, very quickly because, they're not just fighting for domestic honours all of a sudden, now they're fighting for European honours. And I definitely believe that can accelerate growth, both in individuals but also collectively as a team.
Last one, please. Thank you. Okay, we'll take one there and then a final question.
Hi, Ange. Good luck tomorrow. Just wanted to ask about player availability. Is there any injury concerns or issues? And also with Zinchenko being able to be brought in, how much of a boost is that in terms of experience to the squad?
Yeah, firstly, bringing Alex in is brilliant for us. Obviously, losing Ola was a massive blow, and we'd be really short in the fullback areas if we weren't allowed to bring Alex in. I'm super pleased that UEFA have made the amendment to the rule, because I think it is a little bit unfair knowing that they've added 2 extra games to the group stages, that if you lose a player for a whole campaign, that right at the start that you should be allowed to make changes right up until the eve to give every club a chance, and we've certainly benefited from that, and it's very timely for us. So, and Alex will be huge. He's settled in really quickly. You can already see he's a quality player. He's got experience at the highest level of European football, international football. So great for him to bring him in. Availability-wise, the only one that misses out is Murillo again. He trained yesterday, but just still not comfortable, and so we've left him back home to do some work, and everyone else is available. We brought Nico Dominguez across as well. He's now training fully. Won't be a part of tomorrow, but we've actually brought the whole group across, even the ones who aren't eligible, because I think it's really important that at this early stage we keep the group together. Being away allows a little bit more of sort of that spirit within the team to sort of gel a bit quicker, because we do have a lot of new players. I think it'll be a worthwhile couple of days for us.
Last one.
Yes. Hi, Ange. I want to ask you about your opinion from a huge coach like Pellegrini. It's 5 seasons in a row in European competition. What is your opinion about Manuel Pellegrini, and how do you expect from tomorrow here against Betis? Thank you.
Yeah, huge respect for Mr. Pellegrini. It's amazing. I'm not going to mention his age, but he just keeps going, and he's a quality manager, and it gives hope for young 60-year-olds like me that we still got some football in us. And he's an absolute gentleman. I obviously managed against him when I was at Celtic and we played Betis here. But he still produces the same kind of quality teams. He loves his teams to play aggressive football. You can see that still. And every year he makes sure the Betis team he has is competing for European football. And it's going to be a tough game. They're a good side. They've got some Premier League experience in there. Obviously, they signed Anthony from Man United. I managed Gio Lo Celso at Tottenham. He's a quality player, technically very, very good. So it's going to be a tough game for sure. But I'm looking forward to it because, as I said, I've got the utmost respect for Mr. Pellegrini, and I'm looking forward to seeing him tomorrow night.